My name is Brian. I'm 32, and for the last 7 years, I've been the unofficial safety net for my entire family. I never thought of myself as the one holding everything together, but looking back, that's exactly what I've been doing. When my younger brother Jason couldn't pay rent, I covered it. When Mom's car broke down, I paid for the repairs. When Dad's consulting work slowed down, I gave him enough to get through the month. I never complained. I told myself, this is what a good son and older brother should do. Step in when he can. And I could. I have a decent job in tech, live below my means, and helping them never felt like a burden. At least, not until last Sunday. We were sitting in my parents' living room, Mom, Dad, Jason, and me, half watching football. It was a quiet, easy Sunday. The house smelling like coffee, the TV humming in the background. Out of nowhere, Jason smirked and said, "So Brian, where's your wife and kids?" "Oh, right, you don't have any." Mom laughed. Dad chuckled. Jason leaned back, proud of himself, like he'd just made the joke of the year. I sat there, stunned. Normally, I let his comments slide. Jason has always been the golden child, charming, younger, and somehow turning every bad decision into a funny story. I've taken plenty of his digs before, but this one stung. Something about the smug grin and everyone else laughing along hit me harder than usual. I forced a smile. Yeah, no kids. Inside, something cracked. I kept replaying every time I'd bailed Jason out, every time I'd skipped vacations to help my parents, every sacrifice I made so they'd have what they needed. And here they were, laughing at me. When the laughter faded, I turned to Jason and calmly asked, "Where's your money? Because I've been supporting you until now." The room went silent. Jason's grin faltered. Mom's eyes widened. Dad leaned forward, not sure he'd heard me right. I didn't raise my voice, but the words landed like a hammer. Jason recovered first, chuckling nervously. "Wow, touchy much? It was just a joke." Mom patted my knee, trying to smooth it over. "You know your brother. He's just teasing." I stared at Jason, the years of bottled-up frustration boiling inside. "Right. A joke," I said flatly. Dad sighed. "Brian, we appreciate everything you do, but there's no need to get dramatic. Jason's young. He can't be as responsible as you." That line was gasoline on fire. I've heard versions of it my whole life. Jason didn't have to get straight A's. He didn't have to pay rent when he moved back home. He just showed up, smiled, and the world bent for him. And apparently, I was expected to keep making it easy. I didn't argue. I just stood, grabbed my jacket, and left. I wanted to slam the door, but I didn't. That night, I sat at my kitchen table, scrolling through my bank statements. Thousands, tens of thousands, gone over the years. Rent, bills, emergencies that were never repaid. I'd brushed it off every time because I thought it was the right thing to do. But staring at the numbers, I realized I'd made it too easy for them. The next week was quiet but tense. Mom texted, "You okay?" Another followed. "Jason didn't mean it. You know how he is." I didn't reply. I needed space. By Thursday, I felt a bit calmer, until Dad called. "We need to talk. About the bills. The mortgage is due, and you usually cover the difference. You haven't sent anything this month." That pressure in my chest came back. "Yeah," I said. "I'm not doing that anymore." Silence. Then, "What do you mean?" "I mean, I'm done paying for everything. I'm not the backup plan anymore." "Brian, you can't just stop. Your mother and I depend on that money." "That's the problem. You shouldn't. His tone hardened, that familiar rumble from when I was a kid. You're being selfish. This family supports each other. I almost laughed. Does it? Because I don't remember anyone supporting me. I just remember being told I had to take care of everyone else. He hung up without another word. That weekend, they invited, really summoned, me to Sunday dinner. I went, just to see what they'd say. The tension was thick. Mom set the table with extra force. Dad sat at the head, arms crossed. Jason scrolled on his phone like nothing mattered. Halfway through dinner, Mom said, "Brian, we can't keep living like this. Your father and I have bills. Jason has student loans." "He dropped out," I interrupted. She blinked, then continued. "And you make more than enough. You've always helped before." That was before I realized I'm the only one acting like an adult, I said. Jason smirked. "Oh, so now you're better than us because you make money?" "No," I shot back, "because I work for it. You sit around pretending you're figuring things out while burning through my paycheck." Jason rolled his eyes. "Whatever, you're still single. Must not be that great of a life." And in that moment, I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. I calmly put my fork down. I'm not paying for anything else. Not the mortgage, not Jason's rent, not the car insurance. Nothing. If that means you lose the house, that's on you. Mom gasped. Dad slammed his hand on the table. "Don't talk like that in this house." "Then maybe I shouldn't be in this house," I said, standing up. And I walked out. The calls started the next day. Mom, Dad, even Jason, leaving voicemails. I was tearing the family apart, choosing money over them, not understanding their pressure. For the first time, I didn't feel guilty, but I knew what was coming. They wouldn't stop until they forced me back into my role. By Friday, I stopped even listening to their messages. Then Sunday morning, Mom texted, "We're coming over." 20 minutes later, they knocked, hard. When I opened the door, Mom brushed past me with a tight smile. Dad followed, grim. Jason trailed in, looking half asleep. "We can't keep doing this," Dad said. "We're 3 months behind on the mortgage. If you don't help, we'll lose the house." "I told you, I'm done." Mom's voice sharpened. "You're being unreasonable. This is your family's home." "Yes," I said, "and I'm not bankrupting myself to keep it while no one else steps up." Jason scoffed. "You're not hurting. Just do the right thing and help." And I realized something else. They weren't going to stop, not until I made them. The call was polite but direct. Because my name and information were used, and because it was my parents who did it, the situation would require police reports, legal filings, and possibly even court. When I hung up, I just sat there, letting it sink in. Pursuing this would mean no turning back. My parents could face serious legal trouble. Jason might finally deal with consequences. And the rest of the family would probably never forgive me. For a moment, I almost backed out. I almost convinced myself to just pay it off and keep the peace, like always. But then I remembered Jason's smirk, Dad's righteous anger, and Mom's tears. Not tears of remorse, but tears meant to manipulate. I thought about sitting alone in my car, staring at the valley, realizing how isolated I'd become. No, they had made their choice. Now I was making mine. The next few days passed in quiet preparation. I locked my credit report to prevent further misuse, changed all my passwords, strengthened my online banking security, and scheduled a meeting with a lawyer. I told no one, not my coworkers, not my friends, not even my aunt, who had always been my confidant. This wasn't revenge. It was survival and taking back control. But as I gathered documents and wrote everything down, I could feel something deeper taking shape. A calm, steady anger waiting for the right moment. Meeting with the lawyer was the first step into a new world. Her name was Rachel, and she had the composed confidence of someone who had seen every kind of family conflict. I sat across from her, gripping the folder of documents my parents had left behind. "Brian," she said after reviewing the papers, "this is serious. What your parents did isn't just unethical, it's criminal. Forgery, fraud, identity theft. You have every right to act." I nodded, my chest tight, but not from panic. "I don't want to destroy them," I said. "I just want my name cleared. I want them to know they can't do this anymore." Rachel leaned back. "Then we approach it strategically. We'll send a demand letter to the bank, formally stating you did not authorize this loan. That triggers an investigation. If your parents don't resolve it, we escalate legally." Hearing the plan gave me clarity. For years, I'd been reacting, fixing their messes. For the first time, I felt ahead, like I had the upper hand. Leaving her office, the air felt lighter. That week, I threw myself into work. For months, I'd been coasting, exhausted by my family's demands. Now I had purpose. I finished a major project, stayed late to help my team meet deadlines, and by Friday, my manager called me in. "Brian, this is excellent work," he said, holding up my report. "I've noticed a real change in you lately. Whatever's going on, keep it up." I left smiling for the first time in months. My life wasn't just about keeping my family afloat anymore. It was about building my own future. I started taking better care of myself too, cleaning my apartment, stocking it with real groceries, even signing up for the gym membership I'd put off for years. Each evening, I ran or lifted weights, feeling stress fade with every rep. Meanwhile, Rachel sent the demand letter. The bank acknowledged it within 2 days. The loan was flagged for investigation. The fraud department called me, not as someone confused, but as someone taking action. "This is the right step," the representative said. "Once we verify the signature was forged, we can remove your liability." Hearing that felt like my first full breath in weeks. My family didn't take it well. Mom called crying. "Brian, how could you do this? The bank called us. Do you know what you're putting us through?" I listened calmly. "Exactly what you put me through," I said. She went silent. Jason sent a stream of angry texts accusing me of ruining everything and saying if the house got taken, it was my fault. I didn't respond. Instead, I prepared for what came next, opening a separate savings account, moving money into it, and consulting a financial advisor to protect my assets. "This situation isn't uncommon," the advisor said. "Many people with financially dependent families don't realize they need legal safeguards until it's too late. You're doing the right thing." I left with peace of mind and a plan. Weeks passed and things improved. I got a small raise at work. I slept through the night. My apartment felt warmer, calmer, mine. One evening I stood at my window, city lights below, holding a glass of wine. For the first time, I felt free. But under that freedom, something sharper built. Every voicemail, every guilt-tripping text from Jason became fuel. I began saving them all, not just for legal reasons, but as reminders of why I was doing this. This wasn't about money anymore. It was about drawing a line. By the time the bank's investigation ramped up, I was in a new mindset. The Brian who panicked at family calls was gone. I wasn't putting out fires anymore. I was quietly stacking kindling. One Thursday morning, I got an email confirming the bank had sent handwriting samples for forensic analysis. Suspected forgery appeared in black and white under my case number. I forwarded it to Rachel. "This is good," she said. "It means the bank's taking this seriously. Once the report comes back, we can move to remove your name entirely. If your parents are smart, they'll refinance before it goes further." "Do you think they will?" I asked. A pause. "If they don't," Rachel said, "they're going to be in a very uncomfortable situation. The old me might have felt guilt. The new me felt something closer to satisfaction." I began digging, checking county property records. My parents' house wasn't just behind on the mortgage. It had a second lien from a personal loan I'd never known about. Jason, too, had 3 unpaid traffic tickets, a delinquent credit card, and an eviction filing. All public record, all leverage. Rachel connected me with a financial investigator who specialized in cases like mine. I handed over years of transfers, receipts, and screenshots showing how much of my money had kept my family afloat. 2 weeks later, the report arrived. In 7 years, I'd given them nearly $86,000. The investigator laid it out as a timeline. Every payment, every yes to keep the peace. Rachel called after reviewing it. "This is powerful," she said. "If it comes to court, this shows a clear pattern of financial exploitation." Seeing the full picture made my next steps easier. I kept excelling at work, preparing quietly, building a binder with every record, financial reports, bank emails, property records, even Jason's filings. Not to wave in their faces, but to be ready. Calls from my parents slowed, but didn't stop. Mom left a voicemail. "Your father and I might put the house on the market. We're under stress. Please reconsider helping, just until we're back on our feet." I didn't call back. Jason's texts turned desperate, asking for rent money, saying, "Mom will freak if he got evicted." I stared at the message, then set my phone down. I wasn't caving this time. By month's end, I felt like a different person. Anxiety had turned into steady resolve. I had evidence, legal support, and financial stability. I was done waiting. The day I decided to act was quiet and sunny. I sat at my kitchen table with the binder, reviewing everything one last time. Rachel and I had refined the plan. We'd draft a settlement letter demanding they refinance and remove my name from all accounts within 30 days. If they refused, we'd escalate. Calm, strategic, unshakable. The letter went out Monday, 3 pages outlining every unauthorized use of my information and every dollar I'd covered over 7 years. It ended clearly. Failure to comply within 30 days would result in legal action. Rachel sent it certified. All I had to do was wait. 2 days later, Mom called. "Brian, what is this? We just got your lawyer's letter." "It's not from me," I said evenly. "It's from my attorney. It explains exactly what happens next." "You can't do this to us," she said, her voice shaking. "Do you have any idea what it's done to me already?" I asked. She was silent, then asked me to come to dinner Sunday. I almost said no. Then I realized I'd been preparing for this moment. Sunday came. Binder in hand, I arrived at the house. It felt smaller, worn down. Mom and Dad sat at the kitchen table. Jason slouched nearby. "Brian," Dan started, "this is ridiculous. You're threatening your own family over money." "No," I said, setting the binder down. "Over fraud. Over 7 years of being used like an ATM. Over the fact you thought forging my name was acceptable." Jason rolled his eyes. "Here we go again." I opened the binder and slid the financial report across the table. "This is every payment I've made since I was 25. Nearly $86,000. Rent, mortgage, utilities, car repairs, emergencies. I kept you afloat. I never asked for repayment. But this, I laid the forged loan documents on top. This is theft. Dad said nothing. I looked at Jason. You think this is a joke? You think you can keep calling every time you're out of money? I've got every eviction filing, every unpaid bill, every delinquent account. I know exactly how deep you're in. Jason's smirk faded. I leaned back. Here's what happens. You refinance the house and remove my name within 30 days. You stop using my information. You never ask me for money again. If you do, I file this binder with the court, and you explain yourselves to a judge. Silence. Mom's voice was small. And if we can't refinance, then you lose the house. That's on you, not me. I stood, collected my binder, and turned to the door. You have 30 days. Use them wisely. Driving home, I didn't feel triumphant yet, but I felt in control. The next 30 days were quiet. No calls, no texts. At first, it was disorienting. Then, it felt like fresh air. 2 weeks in, Rachel called. The handwriting analysis came back. It's confirmed forgery. You're officially cleared. I sat at my desk, breathing out slowly. So that's it? That's it, she said. From here, the bank will hold your parents responsible. That night, I sat on my balcony, city lights below, glass of wine in hand. The weight I'd carried for years was gone. I wasn't just free, I was untouchable. Then the fallout began. Mom left a voicemail. The bank called. The loan is now solely in our names. We can't make the payments. Your father is talking about selling the house. I don't know what we're going to do. I deleted it. I didn't feel smug, but I did. When I arrived, the house was half empty. Boxes lined the hall. Mom looked tired. Dad sat at the table with papers. Jason paced. This is what you wanted, right? Jason snapped. House is gone. We're screwed. Congratulations. No, I said calmly. This is what you chose. I gave you 30 days. Mom sat heavily. We tried. We really did. Maybe they had. It didn't matter. The point was they were carrying their own weight now. Dad said, we'll have just enough from the sale to pay the debt. After that, we'll rent. Good, I said. That's what responsible adults do. Jason snorted. Easy for you to say. You've always had money. I have money because I worked for it, I said sharply, because I didn't blow it on vacations or max out cards or ignore bills until someone else paid them. Jason looked away. Mom's voice was small. So that's it then? You're cutting us off? I'm not cutting you off. I'm stepping back. I'm not your safety net anymore. If you fall, you figure it out without calling me. Silence settled, not tense, but heavy. Acceptance. I looked around the house one last time. I used to think it was my job to keep this house standing, to keep you standing. Maybe losing it is what forces us all to grow up. No one spoke. I turned to the door. This is the last time I'm coming here. If you want to be part of my next chapter, it has to be on equal terms. With that, I left. Driving away, I felt both grief and relief. The house was gone, but so was the burden. My future finally felt like it belonged to me. At home, I put the binder back in my desk, not out of spite or threat, but as a record of where I'd been and what I'd survived. As I closed the drawer, I caught my reflection in the window and saw something I hadn't seen in a long time. I was smiling.